studying your last two. I swim med tea when they turned in. The styron down to mute. And can learn the pole that sunk he died.
Now let's begin our discussion of Schedule 11, which is used to calculate tuition tax credits and track eligible tuition amounts on a Canadian personal income tax return. Many students pay tuition fees while attending colleges, universities, or other eligible educational institutions. To help reduce the financial cost of education, the Canadian tax system provides tuition tax credits for eligible tuition fees. Schedule 11 is the worksheet that records these tuition amounts and determines how they are used on the tax return. The illustration at the top of the slide introduces the key concept. A student attends an eligible educational institution, pays tuition fees, and receives an official tuition tax certificate from the institution. This certificate provides the information required to claim eligible tuition amounts on the tax return. The visual story in the center of the slide shows the complete process. First, the student enrolls in an eligible educational institution. Next, eligible tuition fees are paid. After the tuition has been paid, the educational institution issues an official tuition tax certificate. During tax preparation, the information from that certificate is entered on Schedule 11. Certified tax software then calculates the tuition tax credit, which is transferred to the taxpayer's T1 general return. Depending on the student's income and tax situation, the credit may reduce income tax payable, create future tax savings, or be available for use in another year. It is important to understand that tuition tax credits are different from deductions. Tuition fees do not reduce taxable income directly. Instead, eligible tuition creates a non-refundable tax credit that can reduce the amount of income tax payable. The information cards at the bottom of the slide summarize the key concepts. Eligible tuition generally includes tuition fees paid to qualifying educational institutions. An official tuition tax certificate is required to support the claim. The tuition tax credit may reduce the amount of tax payable, and Schedule 11 keeps track of current year tuition claims, eligible transfers, and any unused tuition amounts that may be carried forward. The reminder on the right side of the slide highlights an important rule. Not every education-related expense qualifies for a tuition tax credit. Schedule 11 is based specifically on eligible tuition fees reported on the official tuition tax certificate issued by the educational institution. As a professional tax preparer, your responsibility is to collect the official tuition tax certificate, verify that the tuition fees are eligible, enter the information accurately into certified tax software, and review the completed Schedule 11 before filing the return. Accurate documentation and careful review help ensure that students receive every tuition tax credit they are entitled to claim while preserving any unused tuition amounts for future years. Now let's walk through how Schedule 11 calculates tuition tax credits and determines how eligible tuition amounts are used on a Canadian income tax return. The process begins when a student attends an eligible educational institution, such as a university, college, or other qualifying school recognized under the Canadian tax rules. During the academic year, the student pays eligible tuition fees to the institution. After the tuition has been paid, the educational institution issues an official tuition tax certificate. This document is one of the most important records for tax preparation because it reports the eligible tuition fees that may be claimed on the student's income tax return. Without this official certificate, the tuition claim generally cannot be made. During tax preparation, the information from the tuition tax certificate is entered into certified tax software. The software automatically creates Schedule 11 and reviews several important items. It records the current year's eligible tuition fees, checks for any unused tuition amounts carried forward from previous years, determines whether an eligible tuition transfer is available, and calculates the tuition tax credit that can be claimed for the current year. Once these calculations are complete, the tuition tax credit is transferred to the student's T1 general return. Because this is a non-refundable tax credit, it reduces the amount of income tax payable, but cannot create a refund by itself if no tax is owing. The comparison shown at the bottom of the slide highlights two possible outcomes. If the student has enough tax payable, the tuition tax credit can be used immediately to reduce their taxes. If the entire credit cannot be used this year, eligible unused tuition amounts may be carried forward to a future tax year. In certain situations, part of the eligible tuition amount may also be transferred to an eligible family member according to the CRA's rules. The reminders on the right side of the slide emphasize several important responsibilities. Always keep the official tuition tax certificate for your records. Review any unused tuition carried forward from previous years, and verify whether any eligible transfer is available before filing the return. These steps help ensure that valuable tuition tax credits are not lost. As a professional tax preparer, your role is to collect the student's official tuition tax certificate, verify the eligible tuition amounts, review any carry-forward balances or transfer opportunities, enter the information accurately into certified tax software, and carefully review the completed Schedule 11. While the software performs the calculations automatically, accurate documentation and careful review ensure that students receive the maximum tuition tax benefit available under the tax rules. Now let's see how Schedule 11 is completed in a professional tax preparation office using certified tax software. The process begins by gathering all of the student's tuition-related documents. These typically include the official tuition tax certificate issued by the educational institution, records of any unused tuition amounts carried forward from previous years, information about eligible tuition transfers, and any supporting CRA documents. Collecting complete and accurate records is the foundation of preparing Schedule 11 correctly. Once these documents have been collected, the tax preparer enters the information into certified tax software. The software automatically creates Schedule 11 and begins calculating the student's available tuition tax credits. During this process, the software records the current year's eligible tuition fees, reviews unused tuition carried forward from previous years, determines whether any eligible tuition amount can be transferred according to CRA rules, calculates the tuition tax credit available for the current year, and updates any remaining unused tuition that may be carried forward to future years. After these calculations are complete, the tuition tax credits are transferred automatically to the student's T1 general return. Although certified tax software performs all of these calculations automatically, it cannot verify whether the information entered is correct. That responsibility belongs to the tax preparer. Before filing the return, always verify the official tuition tax certificate. Confirm that the eligible tuition fees have been entered accurately. Review any unused tuition carried forward from previous years. Verify any eligible tuition transfer information, and carefully examine the completed Schedule 11 to ensure that all calculations are reasonable. Several common mistakes should always be avoided. Missing the official tuition tax certificate may prevent the student from claiming valuable tuition credits. Entering incorrect tuition amounts can produce inaccurate tax calculations. Ignoring unused tuition carried forward from previous years may result in lost future tax benefits. Incorrect transfer information can affect both the student and the family member receiving the transfer. Finally, failing to review the completed Schedule 11 before filing may allow simple data entry errors to remain undetected. Before submitting the tax return, Complete a final checklist. Confirm that the tuition tax certificate has been collected. Verify all eligible tuition amounts. Review any carry-forward balances. Confirm any transfer information. Ensure that Schedule 11 has been generated successfully. And verify that the tuition tax credits have been transferred correctly to the T1 general return. The key lesson is simple. Schedule 11 keeps track of eligible tuition fees, tuition tax credits, transfers, and unused tuition amounts. Certified tax software performs the calculations automatically, but accurate documentation, careful data entry, and professional review are essential to ensure that every student receives the maximum tuition tax benefit available under the Canadian tax rules.